What's up, guys? This is Doug Stewart from FurnishingResults.com. Instead of answering a question this week, I thought I would share a story. But the story is not my story. The story is the story by one of my heroes in this business. His name's Mark Quinn. And so, in the past couple of weeks, I've had some really cool opportunities to be on the Sleep Geek podcast with Mark Kinsley and share some of the advantages I've gotten from personal failure. I was also able to be on the No BS podcast and be interviewed by Pete Primo and sort of share similar things about how some of the struggles that I've gone through have ended up being some of the things that have helped me really succeed in ways that I maybe wouldn't have succeeded if I hadn't gone through those failures, those hard times and struggles. And so, I thought that it would be really great to hear from other people as well. And so Mark Quinn was gracious enough to agree to share one of his failures and how it ended up being ultimately an advantage for him. So without further ado, here is Mark Quinn, and the first question that I asked him when we started was, tell us a story about a failure you've had that has turned out to be an advantage. I hope you enjoy it.
I'd say recently, in my most recent life, when I was at Leggett, we did a web series called Virgin Mattress. And the idea behind the web series was to do something entertaining, get people to look at Leggett a bit differently in terms of being progressive. A web series was fairly new at the time, and it was kind of fun to do. And the premise was, the Replace an 8, which Mattress Firm does and Better Sleep Council promotes, the idea of replacing your bed. Well, there's this thing where people get like beds handed down to them over time, and it was disgusting. I mean, if you really think about the history of a bed, it gives you that ew moment. Right. And my wife, when we got married, she was like, "You're getting a new bed." I'm like, "There's no way. We're buying this whole wedding, which is very expensive. The mattress was $3,000. I'm not giving it away." She's like, "You don't get it. I know your bed has history." And I'm like, "Okay, didn't think of it that way." Right? And so the idea of the Virgin Mattress was born from that. And then we did some things there, and we knew if you're going to be online and the audience is the consumer, you got to be kind of cheeky, and you kind of have to break through some clutter. Mm-hmm. And so we went too far, Doug, actually. Some of the language in it, some of the topics there pushed the envelope. And the lesson there was you got to know who you are. So the Leggett culture, I was new to the company. All of my scripts actually passed through our CEO, COO, 10 different people. But, they weren't even sure of who we were in terms of culture because they even missed it in terms of not realizing the uproar we were going to cause. In fact, I was so stupid that I actually did a video cover, sent the web series out to 20,000 Leggett and Platt employees and said, "Hey, here's our new web series. Post it to your Facebook. Tell all your friends and family." So we were at the bedding conference when this launched, and apparently, work stopped in Carthage, Missouri, because people that watched the series, the very first line of it was, "Hey, are you getting a new bed when you get married to Vanessa?" And he says, "No." He says, I told her we're not getting a new bed. And he said, "Dude, that's disgusting. I got laid on that bed."
Oh,
right? That was the line.
Oh, no.
And so it's nothing that would happen today, Doug, on television, even Modern Family. I mean, you look at the shows, that wouldn't really shock anybody. Right. But in the Leggett culture, so that was kind of it. Everyone freaked out, and they saw that and went, "Okay, what are we doing?" And we didn't really understand it. And it was people were calling for my job. They were going to our CEO's house and talking to him about it.
Wow.
We had major shareholders of the company very upset over the whole thing, that we would ever produce that kind of content and put it out for everyone to see. And so I felt horrible. I felt like I let the company down. But the cool thing was Dave Hafner, the CEO, we went in on a Saturday. You want to talk about being uncomfortable? Being in the boardroom on a Saturday with the chief executive officer, the chief operating officer, the VP of Human Resources, our chief counsel, your boss, all these guys, and having to discuss, this web series. And Dave Hafner said to everyone in the room, "This is on me. We're not firing Quinn."
Wow.
Because I read the scripts. This starts and stops with me. And, there's a lot of guys that could have very easily threw me under the bus and just got rid of me and sacrificed the lamb, as you will.
Right.
But he didn't. He stuck by it. And so I learned a lot about leadership from him at that moment. I learned a lot about culture and how important it is to understand culture. And then I learned that you got to make a decision when something like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to lay down and just say, okay, I'm going to be super conservative from now on? Or are you going to drive forward, learn from it, but continue to stay true to who you are? And that's what I did. Not only did we stay true, we talked them into producing a second Virgin Mattress web series. So that might be the biggest success in it all. After you do the first one and it fails that way, you talk them into doing the second one. That's pretty good selling. I think we did a good job there. And then third was coming after that. And the second one didn't do that great because we had to really water it down because of the first one. But then shortly thereafter, going back and doing a rap video about hybrid.
Right.
After the lack of success with Virgin Mattress, you come back and go, if this fails too, then we got a big problem here. Yeah. And my personal reputation, I think, is at risk. Not only that, but I don't want to let Leggett down again.
Right.
And they put their trust in me, this guy who is definitely not like the rest of the culture. He's pushing them very hard. And they're trusting me to take them into safe places that will help them succeed. Mm-hmm. So it was really a big moment, that video. And the fact that it was so successful, the fact that we created the term hybrid and the hybrid category has been so successful for the industry. Mm-hmm. Sealy came out strong with the hybrid product. I think retailers have been very successful with it. It was a big moment. And so, I don't know. I think for anyone listening to this, it's any failure, anything that falls short of your expectation, anytime you disappoint someone, anytime you disappoint yourself, it's really looking inward and saying, okay, what do you do with that? And then, what kind of courage are you going to have to fight through it? And what are you going to let define you? Yeah. Because that moment can define you, or you can define the moment and use it to drive you. And that's kind of what I did. I'm not the kind to let something like that get to me. I let it sink in, I think, Doug, in the right ways, which is learn. Mm-hmm. And, it drove me to even go bigger, I think, and take some more risk. And that's the other thing, isn't it? It's risk. Yep. I think to get something big, you have to risk. And that's like leaving Leggett. That's a huge risk for me. Sure. And I'm in the middle of that moment, and I could fail miserably. But if you don't accept risk and be willing to take risk, then you're never going to get the payout from that. You have to be calculated there, measure downside. Yep. So I think that's probably it. And I'm so grateful for that experience because it has driven me to where I am today.
What's really, I didn't know that story, first of all. And what's really interesting to me, Mark, is that, look, I don't think that you individually, I don't think that you get enough credit in our industry for the hybrid thing. People talk about hybrid, it's been such a big thing, but I don't know that enough people really give you and your team credit for hybrid wouldn't have existed. There wouldn't be Springs and Tempur-Pedic mattresses right now if it weren't for Mark Quinn and the Leggett and Platt team. And I think that's, and what I didn't know about that story that I know now is there wouldn't have been a hybrid if there wasn't Virgin Mattress, likely. I don't know if...
Yeah, probably not, I mean, I'm not sure about that. And maybe not. And I appreciate the credit you're giving us for hybrid. And you know what, Doug? We didn't really care. It wasn't about the credit. So one of the things in the 22 immutable laws of marketing that I'm writing about in my blog, and I know you love the book as well, is you have to be able to define a category if you don't have one that you're comfortable in. Right. And the big specialty guys were pigeonholing Innerspring as old technology and bad. So we really had to think of something creative to get out of that, which is what it ended up. I was just watching television and saw a hybrid commercial and on a golf club in a car, and I'm like, we should do that, right? But I think it is important for the industry to accept it because I think it drove the consumer and it made it easier for them to think about things. Right. And so the credit was never important. It's just we wanted to adopt a term that other people liked and that they used. And that's what ended up happening. And I think that's all the credit we need, is to know that other people. And by the way, other people, truthfully, other people had used hybrid.
Yeah.
We weren't the first people to use the term hybrid. There are probably many others that did years ago.
Sure.
But they didn't drive it the way we did. And so the credit probably goes to them for bringing the term in the market. We just wanted to make it popular,
Right.
And explain, if you have a term like that, you got to help people understand why it's good. We think we did that with some research, and a lot of credit goes to the retailers and the bedding manufacturers who took it forward. So my hat is off to all those guys.
Yeah, and you guys really just made it interesting. I mean, I think that's the point. You put the story with it, you made it interesting, and you made it available to retailers, and the businesses flourish because of that. And I believe you've saved a lot of people's companies as a result of the hybrid. And so, big kudos to that. One thing that I think that story really says about you, other than the fact that you're willing to get on camera and talk about a failure, which we don't get to hear enough of, right, in our business. I don't think. I think we only see all the good things, and gosh, Facebook's a liar, right? People
Right.
never post their bad days. They only post, their kid smiling, knowing good and well that the kid just had a temper tantrum for, all day. And so, that's such an awesome characteristic that you have, and I certainly appreciate that. Tell me, based on that story that you shared with us about Virgin Mattress, what do you think that says about who you are as an individual? How does that define you?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I think it says that I picked the right company, because those guys were willing to support me through that. And gosh, I give a lot of credit to Leg. I mean, if you really think about it, Doug, here's a company that is so old with its culture, and they bring in this new guy and want him to help them kind of come out of who they are, and like let people think about them a bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me to do that for them. Man, what people need to give Leggett a lot of credit for that, because my goodness, I mean, I always thought that way.
Right.
I'm always trying to push them. That's not anything new for me. It's really someone like Leggett willing to take the risk and trust a guy to help them. That's why I felt so badly about letting them down there. But my gosh, Leggett has come so far, and I give him so much credit. What it says about me is I'm proud of the fact that I'm willing to push the envelope. I like the fact that I don't accept what is. Mm-hmm. I'm always thinking about what it could be. I never ever look at a business, an industry, a company, a brand as what it is. I'm always thinking about, what could we do to tweak that to make it even bigger and better. And so I think it tells me that willingness to be that way is a real blessing. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that I have that in me. It can get you in trouble. So that's the other part of it. So you got to watch it. But that's what it says. And it says that you do got to measure and be calculated and measure your downside. But, hey, the other part of it is you got to laugh at yourself. Yeah. You got to be willing to fail. And you can't get so caught up and really not care. For the people who want to take shots at me, or anytime you're going to put yourself out there like you do, Doug, or writing a blog like I do, I don't really care about the detractors from any of that. I mean, people aren't going to like me every time, and they're not going to agree with me every time. I don't really care. I care about advancing something that's important to me, which is this industry. It's good actors in this industry. It's the idea that we can change people's lives. That's the stuff that matters. Yeah. And so hopefully I do it respectfully along the way. And, we change the world. I think that's really what we're all trying to do, is change the world in our way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know that there's anyone in our business that is changing it in the way that you are. So, from the bottom of my heart, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you do for our business, because this is an industry that I love as well. And, there are so many good things that come out of our business, and so many opportunities, things that we've talked about before, so many opportunities in our business for things to be meaningful to the people who buy our products. So thank you for everything you're doing in our business, and thank you for sharing what you shared. And tell us a little bit about, Mark. Tell us a little bit about where we can connect with you.
Yeah, first of all, I want to make sure to give credit to. So an idea guy, but anything I've ever done, Doug, I've been so grateful because so many cool, smart, intelligent people are there to
Yeah.
execute that stuff and make it great. So first credit to all those people, and they know who they are. Connecting with me, mquinn03 @gmail.com, at Joplin Quinn on Twitter. My blog is mquinn.com, Q's Views. I write it weekly. And so that's probably that. And thank you, Doug, for what you're doing. Love it. Love that you're a fresh face to many in this business. And love your passion, man. That's what's going to sell and get us to the next step is guys like you that have a heart for it. And we need it bad. So keep doing what you're doing.
Cool. Mark, I appreciate it. Thank you for being on.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Take care.